Konnichiwa Busters! The bug catcher is here today, smoking trees, catching Butterfrees. And before I even get into it, right, I gotta do like almost a history lesson, right? Because Pokemon Red and Blue did a lot of things in the 90s. And I feel that other YouTubers, even though I'm new in the space, right, I'm already one of the oldest Pokemon YouTubers going. And I feel like some of the other guys my age, M&J TV is older than me. I believe me and T-Tar are about the same age, and like hoops and hip hop, right? We're about the same age. Big shout out all three of them guys, right? But I feel I'm the only one who remembers how things truly were. I remember, and I said this before, the original thought of the original fan, and I am here today to, I guess, talk about it. And we're gonna start right now. So let's get into the 90s first, right? Because that was an interesting time. A lot of edginess, especially in the late 90s, was going on in every aspect of life. The music, TV, sports, professional wrestling got big at this time. Stone Cold, real edgy type of guy, right? And now I'm sure you're wondering, how does Pokemon fit into that? Well, they don't necessarily, right? So now, while the Pokemon designs aren't bad, they're actually probably, this is the best designed region, because these guys are really monsters. These Pokemon are really as if a praying mantis got dipped into the ooze from Ninja Turtles, and out came a fucking Scyther, right? Now, and another thing that really put these games on par with the controversy of the games, is why these games fit the bill in the late 90s to be mainstream as they were. Because parents didn't like these games. Even though adults were playing them, everyone remembers this is the devil's work, right? Everyone remembers the preachers talking about Pokemon, how this is the devil's work, this and that and the third. So, these games, Pokemon Red and Blue, automatically got categorized with the rest of edgy society, simply because of the mass hysteria it was causing these adults, right? And I'm not really sure why these people thought this. My mom was one of them, right? So I don't really sure why she thought this. But the fact that we kids weren't supposed to play these games, right, is the reason they were so talked about in the first place. Another reason, and this goes back to the designs, and this is almost, and I'm not trying to really single anyone out, but this game really wasn't for nerds, right? And this goes back to the era of the time. Think about other RPGs that were coming out. Dragon Quest, Zelda, Let's Go Save the Princess. And look, I like Zelda games. But you gotta think, the story of Gen 1 is your story. Right? Because it's so minimal in the game. So, Pokemon Red and Blue is supposed to be real life Japan if they had these real creatures in it. So the games are based off something real. Even hear me out, right? I know there's these fantasy creatures, but the land itself isn't fantasy world. We're not in fantasy land. We're in Kanto. That's real life Japan, right? This wasn't no, I have to save the princess from all sorts of Ganondorf doom like that. That's some bullshit. That's for a different type of person. Now, like I said, I'm not trying to offend anyone listening, but if you are offended, I bet your favorite games are black and white. You know what I'm saying? And that's another, I already have a video on those games, but the story of Gen 1 was my story. I had to hide and play these games. I had to tell my mom, hey, mama, I was 4 or 5 years old. Mom, I'm playing Zelda. TBC, baby, is lying his ass off. That's the story of Gen 1, is what I had to go through to go play it. Everybody talks about, well, there is no story. And that's when I say, I don't think you are an entertaining or charismatic enough person to play Pokemon Red or Blue or Fire Red or Leaf Green. Because you can't put, look at Dusty Go-Go. I bet he's one of these guys I'm talking about. You can't put your own thought process onto these games. The games are meant to be your story. So when the story's so minimalistic, you can't get into it because you're not creative enough, right? Are you guys following me? Are you guys following what I'm saying? Pokemon is about me. Not Ian and his stupid ideals that really, truly, no one gives a fuck about. No one cares what Ian really gives a flying fuck about what he talking about. I literally, Gen 1 story and Gen 5 stories, to me, are the same almost. But the difference is, Gen 1 and real life go hand in hand. Because I really had to do what Gen 5 talks about. I really had to, hide my, like I was saying earlier, hide my Game Boy. I really want the Pokemon to follow me too. The 90s captured just an era. The late 90s were an era. And if you really weren't there for it, and I was young for it. I'm not 35 years old. Me and Pokemon are the same age. But you have, and maybe the geography played a part in it too. I don't know where T-Tar and Hoops and Hip Hop are from, right? I'm from the South, okay? Specifically, Louisiana. And things are different out there. There's not a lot of, things are just different. So maybe that's why I look at these games in a different regard than black and white. Or X and Y. Because I always thought that I was so cool that when I play Heart, Gold, Soul, Silver, that I don't need no story. That's what these games were about. Fire Red, Leaf Green. The story's not there because I am literally the main character. And people don't grasp that. People complain nowadays online. That's why I'm a new voice in, like I started this video earlier. I'm a new voice in this. I'm the original voice. I was here since the beginning. I remember the first 4 regions, Gen 3's the worst one. I remember those memes back in the day. I remember when Gen 5 came out, I remember people saying the story was trash. The Pokemon design sucked. People still feel that way. Just because the community is filled with new fans with a louder voice, don't mean that there aren't still these Gen 1ers in effect. And in conclusion, I appreciate everybody listening. I'm almost at 500. We are running it up over here. From across the land, far and wide, I fucks with everyone listening. Peace out, Girl Scouts.